headline at this hour tonight, the U.S. Coast Guard just revealing that they believe they have recovered human remains.
अचानक जो हुआ वो सस्पेंस की खतरनाक कहानी बन चुका है, लेकिन क्यों इस पड़ताल से पहले
We're coming on the air with significant new information on the urgent and around-the-clock search for that missing submersible vessel in the Atlantic.
On June 19th, the private submersible Titan went missing in the Atlantic Ocean. It was headed to the wreckage of the Titanic. There were 5 people on board, including British billionaire Hamish Harding. Imagine being in the place of those 5 people. To feel this, in this video I will help you dive into the depths of your fears with the ingenious horror game Iron Lung. Enjoy watching. Video games often provide an opportunity to explore vast, amazing landscapes, introducing us to beautiful and terrifying sights. But how do you simulate that feeling by only providing the player with a small, room-sized space? This is precisely the challenge that David Szymanski, the developer of Dusk, sets for himself in Iron Lung. All the stars and planets in the universe have disappeared. Only asteroids and lifeless moons remain. Humanity is reduced to those who are on space stations and ships. On one of these lifeless moons, an ocean full of blood was discovered. Moreover, this was not the first such ocean discovered on a lifeless moon. The protagonist is the pilot of the Iron Lung bathyscaphe. He needs to investigate the anomalies of this ocean. Upon launching the game, we are greeted by the text, "Decades ago, every known star and habitable planet vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations or starships." This event became known as the Quiet Rapture. With supplies dwindling and infrastructure crumbling, survivors are searching for any trace of natural resources in a universe of barren moons, lit by the ghost light of vanished stars. One such moon holds a strange anomaly, an ocean of blood. You are a convict tasked with exploring this anomaly in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you be welded inside and the forward window will be closed. There was no time for training. If successful, you earn your freedom.
Roughly 40 seconds. Stand by. Closing porthole shielding. We're starting to lose radio signal. You'll be at cruise depth soon, so refreshing and be careful. You're on your own. Good.
In our arsenal is a control panel, the coordinates of the boat, the oxygen and depth levels where we are. The boat also has a fire extinguisher and a camera that takes pictures outside the boat. Now you can start searching for the first point. Much of it is very tactile and crunchy. You have to physically move around the cramped space to press various buttons. The minimalistic game process here may seem limiting to some, but it's one of the game's smartest design choices, arising from blindly navigating in your underwater boat, constantly looking at the map, trying to understand who you are, to make sure you don't smash your submarine. Iron Lung also creates tension thanks to its unique sound design. The work of composer Dom64. Aubrey Hodges is minimal, but subtly emphasizes key events. Every element of the soundscape successfully complements the game's already remarkable atmosphere. What about the tiny game space? It's rendered as short polygons with low-fidelity textures. In the best possible way, the blur and pixels give it a dirty look, depicting the rusty death trap you're traveling in. We're at the location, and in the photo we see some corals or tentacles. The second point also has something similar. Arriving at the third point, there's something that looks like worms coming out of the ground. On the way to the fourth location, a pipe bursts due to the pressure. It's difficult to make out what's in this photo. However, in the corner, you can see a creepy fish face. So, the next photo, and we are greeted by the skeleton of a huge, ancient creature. At the next location, there's some kind of incomprehensible structure. The next shot is another skeleton of a creature. Oxygen is dropping lower, and a fire starts on the submarine. The next photo is a huge, dead octopus. On the way to the penultimate point, the boat starts shaking violently, and apparently, it's due to some kind of beam, similar to an anomaly, which we photograph and swim away from here. So, the last point, the eye of a huge creature looking right at us. It's time to swim away from here. There's no oxygen left, and the submarine is filling with the blood of the ocean. The expedition ultimately raised more questions than answers. Satellite images showed pieces of the SEM-13 scattered all over the bottom of the trench, as though it had been torn apart by some huge beast. The wreckage cannot be reached at this time, have been recovered. No photographs. The stars shine pale as bones. The moon is a lifeless corpse, its ocean, a gaping wound. The universe, what's left of it, is dying. But somewhere in the void, there must be hope. The Quiet Rapture was a mysterious cosmic event when all the stars and habitable planets in the known universe disappeared, leaving behind space stations, ships, and barren moons. The Quiet Rapture began in 1349 AD, 21 years before the events of the game. After this event, natural resources began to dwindle, prompting humanity to desperately search for resources on the remaining moons. Oceans of blood are a mysterious phenomenon discovered on 4 moons. These oceans were apparently unheard of before the Quiet Rapture, suggesting a possible connection. It is determined that it is indeed an ocean entirely composed of human blood. However, there is no clear explanation for this phenomenon. Perhaps this is the blood of all the people who disappeared during the Quiet Rapture, but we can only guess about this. SM-13, also known as Iron Lung, was a submarine created to analyze the depths on the moon at 5. Although SM-13 is presented as a submarine designed for ocean at 5 exploration, it later becomes clear in both the notes and the terminal entry that it is a submarine designed as punishment and a means of execution for condemned prisoners. A note can be found on board the SM-13, written by an unknown criminal, who reveals that the player is not destined to survive their expedition, and that the SM-13 is a submarine designed without regard for user safety, which serves a dual purpose: collecting information and executing convicts. So, we should not rely on the freedom promised at the beginning of the game. This is a game that is reminiscent of the end of a broken world, defined by the cruel systems we have built. Your investigation and your focus are pathetic attempts to build a better future, but it is an inevitably doomed failure. The Iron Lung execution is a ray of light in the bloody universe that keeps our world barely alive until someone turns it off.